Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 11 of Mad Dialogue with me, Michelle.
And me, Skylar.
And this week we're talking about paranormal activity, all because we're coming up to Halloween season. So we thought, why not? So have you had any paranormal experiences, Skylar?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us?
So I would say like the earliest one that can you call it paranormal? Yeah, I'd say it's paranormal. Yeah, the earliest one, basically, I was in school and I was on the playground, as you are, and there was like this little fenced bit where it's like you could see the car park, and then the further you looked on, you could see like another bit where people could like walk into classrooms. So basically, like I looked across there and I saw a little girl, but her uniform like didn't look the same as everyone else's. Like, your school uniform, basically what she was wearing. Like I remember thinking like that looks old and like she doesn't, look like she goes here. So then I went to turn to my friends to tell them like, oh, like look at that girl, like what's she doing there? Turn back, girl's gone. And yeah, that was like one of my first paranormal experiences, I'd say.
And what did she look like? Like her hair and all of that?
You're really asking me this right now. I can't describe that. It was I was in like year 5. I honestly can't remember.
When you told me that story and you described her, you said how her hair was long and it looked like a brownie color, and she had a fringe and whatnot, and you sort of estimated her ages. And the thing that shocked me is that there was actually a little girl that I knew her and her mum personally. There was a little girl who went to that school who did actually pass away. So the fact that when you come home and you told me about it, I cannot deny the feeling that went through me, because I was like, wow, you actually saw her. You know what I mean?
What made it even weird as well, to add to that, is there was when, I'm trying to describe it to my friends, and the way her facial features looked, I remember going like, she looks like a girl that we know, to the point where I even tried to say, oh, was it her? And it was just, a thing. And what the funny thing was is when I was retelling the story to my friends, the little girl who looked similar to her came up and round the corner as I was telling my friends, and even one of my friends was like, like, what the hell? Like, that's the girl that looks similar. And like, even to that, like that synchronicity.
I think it was, to confirm what you were saying. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I do remember you telling me that story. And I think the strange thing is that it was like around the same time you was in your bedroom during the day, and you came to me and you said you heard somebody come into your bedroom, like you could hear the footsteps, you could feel them near you. And what?
Oh, that was around the evening time. I remember I was doing my homework, and it was like I was sitting with my back facing this way, let's put it like that, in the room. That was when the beds were still over there. And I felt something walk towards me, and then I felt like the energy. And then I remember at one point I felt like something touched me like that. And I remember I was
that made me think it was her. And I feel like because she recognized that you could see her, that's why she was trying to connect with you. Because I do believe you have a gift, even though you try fight it. I do believe that you do have a gift. Excuse me, I've got to turn this fan on. Menopause. Anyway, yeah. So that's. But you've had other experiences, though, right? No.
I'm trying to think. Nothing that really like stands out. Just like random little things like hearing stuff and seeing something and not being sure and stuff like that, but nothing like major.
Because we have activity in the house. Do you know what I mean? But I'm at a point, I think, because of where I am in life now and my mindset and where I am with spirituality and so on and so forth, it doesn't affect me in the way that it used to. I have a story. This one, I've had many paranormal experiences, and so it's a thing of sitting here thinking, oh, which one shall I pick? But the reason I'm picking this one in particular is because it stood out so much. Like it still stays with me to this day. Years ago, I used to work at a pub called Lumber Tub, and or Lumber Tubs, whatever, and basically even before I worked there, I would take your older siblings there, and they had in a room, it's actually the function room now.
Yeah.
But at the time it was called the Funky Forest. And I just remember it being so dark in there. Like it had like climbing things for the kids and whatnot. But every time I went to go and get your siblings to go home, I'd get to the threshold and I'd feel this energy like I didn't want to step over the threshold. And I'd call to them and I'd always say to them, I don't like how that room makes me feel. Like it's like the cold that came from it was a weird kind of cold.
Yeah.
So I did work there for a while, years later. And, but when I had this nightmare, and I say nightmare, but when I explain it, you'll understand. It was, I wasn't working there, but in the dream, I was in the pub and it was late at night, like it was closed. So obviously I'm working the shift where, you know, just before the pub shuts. So even as I am putting the stools on the table and so on and so forth, in my mind, I'm actually like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I don't work this shift. Yeah. So straight away, that's my mind kicking in, like I'm lucid dreaming, but not fully conscious of the fact. So then in the next moment, I hear a baby crying. And I'm like, how is there a baby in the pub crying late at night? And the direction the crying was coming from was the Funky Forest. And so I was heading towards that direction. And the whole time I'm going, hello, is there anybody there? Still, this baby's crying. Now, if anybody knows me, they know that babies, children, they are my weakness. Yeah, I will stop whatever I'm doing to help be there for a baby or child. Like, that's just who I am. So I'll go towards the Funky Forest and I can hear the crying getting louder. And just as I'm about to step over the threshold, all of a sudden, I'm conscious that I am awake in my bed, like I'm waking up, and I hear the front door open and slam. And the way how the front door slammed, and this is happening in real time now.
Yeah.
And the way how the door slammed, the house shook. So I'm expecting Roxanne and Israel, both of them, one of them at least, to come running to my room like, what was that? Nothing. Meanwhile, I'm thinking this, I hear the heaviest footsteps coming up the stairs. See, even as I'm talking about it now, I'm getting a bit like, oh. And then my door opens and then all of a sudden, all I could feel was two hands on my head, squeezing my head. But what I was conscious of was the fact that the fingers were like gnarly, like I could feel the bony fingers and I could feel the fingernails like digging into my scalp. And then I literally remember my eyes rolling in my head. And all I could do, and I just remember Mama always used to say this, hope you're having a good time in the astrals with the astral family, Mama. I love you. I miss you. Mama basically always said, if you ever have a nightmare or you wake up and, you know, sleep paralysis, she always said to recite the Lord's Prayer in your head. And so that's what I did. And then the pressure relieved. I didn't feel the hands no more, nothing. And so I tried to go back off to sleep and exhaustion took over. So the next morning I wake up, that nightmare's not in my mind. I go out my room to go to the bathroom and then something catches my attention. So when I look to the left, there Roxanne had a poster on the outside of her door. I remember it was of Tweety Bird. And the poster had been ripped off the door. And just to prove it hadn't fallen off the door because it was held up by blue tack, it hadn't fallen. It was ripped because part of the poster was left off the door and the rest of it was on the floor, which basically proved that that had actually happened.
Yeah.
And that for me was one of the most scariest paranormal experiences I've ever had in my life. And I don't want to have it again, trust me. But I think if I did, I would know how to deal with it this time. It would be a different ball game. And so I haven't had any kind of dream like that in a minute. I haven't had sleep paralysis. Have you had sleep paralysis?
Never.
Never. Do you
I
know,
can't lucid dream like with dreams like that. Like it's rare I even remember them.
I only remember a dream if I'm supposed to, because obviously then it holds a message. That's how I interpret it, because every time I've had a dream and I've remembered it, it's always been for a reason, and that's never been proven otherwise. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, yeah, that was something in that respect, which really did prove to me, even though I know that there's more to this world than what we actually see in the 3D. Still, when you experience something like that, it kind of does make you look at things
a lot differently.
Differently. But there are some people that don't experience anything like that at all.
Lucky
and
them.
So they would kind of look at you like you're a bit crazy. Do you know what I mean?
But, you know,
your siblings have experienced paranormal activities. All of them. You know.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, even Ernst. Well, for him, it was in that nightmare where.
That's what I just thought of. But that's the only. Like,
but I still take that as like paranormal 100%, activity,
because you know, to be so active in your dreams like that and something like that to that extent happening 100%.
Well, I believe, and I firmly believe this, that you are more awake in your dreams than when you're here in 3D. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my stories, and I don't really want to take up too much time just telling stories, and you're just sitting here listening to me, bless you.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't mind. But
I'm just trying to think if I've got one more quick one that I could leave everybody with, but there are a lot, so it's kind of hard for me to just sort of pluck one.
Yeah.
No, that was from that music, but yeah. Anyway, so I think we'll leave it here this week then.
Okay.
Yeah. As always, I'm sending an abundance of love and light. And if you've had any paranormal experiences and you would like us to talk about them, why don't you tell us your story on YouTube, or you can email us at maddialogue2@gmail.com.
We'll just put it in the bio, or you could just send us a DM on Instagram.
Yeah, or even that, which we will start posting on this. That's down to Skylar.
No, it's not.
All right. Yes, it is.
I've still got the video.
All right. Okay, it's both of us. Okay, so sending an abundance of love and light. It's goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye.